Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. And one thing you understand about me, I'm not an African American. I am an American. I was born actually in Rodney, Ohio. If I didn't pick that up, that's where I was born.
Yes.
Rodney, Ohio. And so I spent a lot of time around Gallipolis, Point Pleasant, and those areas. And I played football around those areas, but back in the day, it wasn't tough. I mean, we learned from each other. I don't use the term black and white. I use we all people and human beings. I don't want that. And I've been here in Zanesville since 85. I came back. My oldest brother was here, and he was an architect. That's what got me back here, and I helped him out. He passed away. So I decided to stay because 70 was right there. And I'd always get on 7 to go in the direction that I want. Then I buy me some buses. I also have a charting service too that I do on the side. So I stay busy.
Yeah.
I do
Busy
everything.
guy.
I do everything legal. I don't even let the Internal Revenue mess with me. I give them their money too, right? My professional name is Git, G-I-T, Shorty, S-H-O-R-T-Y. And the way I assumed that name was back in 1985. I was wireless, and they were looking for me, and I was outside in the street playing the guitar, and somebody says, Git Shorty. I actually own the name Guitar Shorty. Zanesville is actually what I call my hometown. I went to McIntyre School. I was raised at 1034 Jackson Street. Believe it or not, we had chickens and goats in the backyard at that time. And I'm from a family, believe it or not, of 21. My mother and father were ministers with the House of Jacob Church. At that time, they were kind of like in Zanesville, the big farmers out in Coshocton, Ohio. So that's kind of how I was raised. And then I also worked for Ted and Zach gave me my first job to clean the floor and mop the floors and so forth. They were really good to our family. They also helped us with groceries. They helped us do a lot of things. And I remember Dale very well. He was always really kind. Him and Ted both was Ted was kind of like, he was a little quiet when he didn't do much, but he kept us all straight. So that kind of helped me out. And my dad was a coal miner. He ended up getting black on what they call. So we moved to Charleston, West Virginia to kind of deal with some of the things, with the family issues and stuff. So then at that time, it was West Virginia State College, which at the time was a black college, all black college. So the high school was also integrated with the college. So that's where I went to high school at. Then when they shut that down and they integrated, then we all went to Dunbar, West Virginia. And I played football in Dunbar, West Virginia. And then after that, my dad got sick, and we decided from his health we had to move to Florida, which was Jupiter, Florida, by the way. Burt Reynolds owned land right behind us, and my mother bought land down there for $25 for I think it was 50 by 60 acres. You won't do it anymore. And then I began to play my music, and I was in church playing, which at that time I thought I was just a great musician. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was going to town. I was just being human like a young man would be. And my mother then wouldn't allow me to play blues or anything. So I would get up under the porch we had out there, and I'd take the little guitar and I'd just play around with it. And when I heard a car coming with the big motor, and then I'd go run in the house and put it up. We wasn't allowed to play that kind of music. We were Christians, and they didn't stand for, my mother called it devil music. Then a guy named Big Joe Dynamo. He's in my big records. He was a good guy who helped get me started in music. And he taught me how to do little things, how to play blues, how to do things. And later on, he invited me to go to a talent show that was happening in Miami. I said, oh man, I can't do that. My mother never beat me to death. I'm 21, past 21 years old, but I'm still respectful. That's just the way it was in those days. And so at that time, then I went on there, went to the talent show, make it short, and I was doing, guess what I wanted to show with? Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog by Elvis Presley.
Wow, I just watched that movie. Yeah.
And so then I did that, and then Mr. James Brown was in the audience. I didn't know who he was. I knew his music. I used to listen to it all the time and play it. And he walked by me at the end. He says, hey, young man. He says, man, you did a nice job up there. And he says, go get your hotel room. I'm like, yes, sir. I said, so I told Joe, I said, no, sir, I can't do that. So Joe came up to me, the guy was handling me at the time. He said, Shorty, do you know who that was? He said, that's James Brown. I said, I don't care. My mother didn't beat me to death, man. I can't go to no hotels where my mom and have a fit. Anyway, I went back home, crawled back in the window without anybody knowing I've been out. Came back, and then later on I talked to my mom, and I told her I had a job. And he sent me into Augusta, Georgia, which my uncle was a 5-star general. He was Eisenhower's 5-star general. His name was Ed Sherrod. And he was real great and helped me out along the way there. So at that time, then I just started traveling. Then I went to New York University, and I graduated 1968, 69, and then I decided I wanted to be a maestro. So I started doing that. Tyrone Davis, Shannon Dave, George and Rim McCrae, Tisha Campbell, the Dale Vikings, anybody you can name. I mean, me and Whisper Roy Clark was my favorite guitar player. Glenn Clamel is my next favorite guitar player. All these guys are great. I mean, they play a lot of great stuff. And I like the versatility of music. So I'm characterized as a blues player, but I like it all. I play it all. I don't play like an 82-year-old man. Thank God for that. And I want you guys to continue. I want to bring great music to Zanesville. I'm back here. I want to do great things for Zanesville. I really want to give everything that I have left in my life to Zanesville, and I love it here. So I want to thank you guys for Zanesville, and all of us matter. The music you can expect to hear at the show, you're going to be from the Eagles, to James Brown, Michael Jackson, Bruno Mars, myself. Definitely myself. So we get a little bit of everything. A lot of reggae. We do a lot of stuff. Great Sam and Dave, Back in the Place with My Girl. We do a little bit of everything. Meant to Be, whiskey. We do it all.
Awesome.
So it'll be a really awesome show to get it right. So we reach everybody in the audience. And this is just not stand-up music. There's a lot of show, a lot of acts that I'll be doing with my guitar, a lot of tricks I'll be doing. I might even just disappear for a few minutes. We'll cut all the lights out. We'll be done. Then you'll see me all lit up maybe. You might just see that. Okay. But I think everybody have a really, really good time, and it'll be something totally different here. Not better than anyone, but different. All equally music. We all have something different to offer. That's why it's called music. My playing style came from because I love the versatility. So I like Johnny Guitar Watson, Glenn Campbell, my favorite. Mr. Roy Clark was great when I met him. He's the greatest man in the world. He's not living today, but he's always my idol. He taught me a lot of how to be yourself when you play. Be yourself. Just be comfortable. Meet the people. Greet the people. Make them feel comfortable when you're around them. It doesn't matter what you look like. It just doesn't matter what you look like. It matters about the music you want to deliver to the people. So it's not about you when you play music. It's about your audience. And that's where you want to focus on everything. When I was with Tyrone Davis, the same thing. I did all kinds of stuff. I played with Jermaine Jackson, a group called Switch. I'm sure you're familiar with them. And it's the same thing. We all try to do the same thing. So life have taught me a lot how to be happy. I stay for my shirt. My motto is to stay happy no matter what. And all my band members will tell you I don't get upset. I don't have nothing to upset me. I continue, and I've never got into drugs. I've never drank. I've never no more than Coke and water. But I've been blessed. That didn't make me better. That's just my choice. That was my choice not to do it. And I promised my mother and them that I wouldn't do it. But I also did it for myself, for my own health and my own issues. But guess what? I was sick real bad one time too, but God blessed me to still be here. I had a serious cancer, and I overcame it. Just about 5 years ago, they checked me again. I'm still doing good. I don't do the flips no more, but I do stand up and play real good.
I was gonna say you were flashy, or some people even say acrobatic. Can you talk about that?
Oh yes, I used to do the flips and spin the guitar around my neck. And actually, I'm the better guy got the trip something. You go in the magazine, you will read it. And they used to travel all around the world and have guys come in and check me out when I do the flips, or I do all the dance moves I used to have. And they came around and picked them up. I had no idea what it meant. I was just clowning. I didn't know what I was doing. It was plus I wasn't playing very well either. I had about 3 or 4 notes in my bag. That was about it. So, I learned to be disciplined. And music is discipline, and it's also respect. Music is discipline and respect. I want to get every musician to understand this, that when you go out, please respect your audience. Sometimes take a little time off, go shake people's hand, say I appreciate you, because they care what you do. And sometimes that's all it takes, and you'll have a friend for life. They'll always be in your corner no matter what. Turn out and show some appreciation to Zanesville, not me, just show it to Zanesville. I'm gonna give you everything I have to offer. Okay. And WHIC, I look at you guys every day, so you guys are wonderful. Great with the news, I'll say that. And I want to continue to stay here and do a lot. I'm going to probably retire off the road maybe next year, maybe the end of this year, maybe. And I'm going to do some local things here with the Barn Jims, I got to call his name. He is a great, great person. Jim Watson is a great person. Also, the marriage great. I just met him. All those people have been really nice. So what we have to do sometimes, we have to integrate ourselves. Don't put it on somebody else. We have to do something ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn how to communicate with people, communicate with them, and enjoy life. That's me. Sometimes we don't want to, making sure you got it. But anyway, that's what I do, and I live happy every day. Yeah. I go and I work. I'm always busy. If I'm not practicing, I practice every night. I practice every night, every day, no matter what I'm doing. I learn stuff, new stuff all the time. Yeah. I'm either that working on my bus. I did all the work in it. You'll see it at night. I would like for you to get a nice picture of it at night. You got to see it. Okay. I got a stage on top of it. And when I do the racetracks, I come out on the stage on top of the bus. And when I get up on the stage, I got little lifters with the lights. They raise up so I don't make a mistake. Yeah. And so I put that on there for that reason. I played Bristol. There's a dude here named Devin Moran. Okay. He didn't realize I was from Zanesville. And when I went out there and played, he said, man, they tell me from there. I said, yeah. So I know his brother Dean. I know his uncle Dean Moran. And him and I are good friends. Because I used to race go-karts too. I did a little bit of everything.
You really do it all.
Yeah, I did a little bit of everything, yeah. And I raced Dutros and all the golf guys. At Lima, I raced all over the place here. Okay. Martinsburg, Mansfield, I go everywhere. I got out of that because the music got really picked up on me, so I just stopped doing it. Well, it was a little bit too much argument for me. I just stopped. And it wasn't making no money. You put it all in the go-kart, that's all you're doing. Yeah. But it was fun for me. And because I like people, and I like kids, I like them. I'm doing this part also, we didn't get it in, I hope we will later. It's for the animals. I love animals. I saved a German Shepherd. A guy was actually going to kill him. I was playing in Circleville up above Chillicothe, actually. Yeah. It's way back in the woods. Way back in the woods. And this guy got about 160 acres up there. He'll be to the show too as well. And his name is Jay Brothers is his name. And I played them. They had me to come up, and they were like surprised. I said, "Oh yeah, well man." And I had a little group, but anyway, I saw this dog playing with the kids, and I was like, "Man, that's a cool dog. I never paid it no mind." You know, and the kids rolling over the dog, rolling him all around, and he ain't biting them. And she's about that big shepherd. I'm like, "Wow, that's cool." So I thought the dog belonged to him. Yeah. So I didn't know. And later on, I saw all this commotion going on. I parked about across into that brick building, and I'm like, "What the heck are they doing over there?" So I just walked over. I didn't hear no gunshots, so I think it was all right. But when I got there, the guy that I'm playing for, he says, "Shorty," he says, "Man, I would like to take this dog," he says, "but I can't because he had a Rottweiler and they don't get along." And he was on the guy's property, farthest from here to that sign the dog was. I guess he did his business or whatever she had. Mm-hmm. And anyway, the guy had a shotgun to her head. And I walked up, I said, "Man, you gonna kill the dog?" And he looked at me, he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill him." "And who are you?" I said, "Well, nobody, really." I just said, "Nobody." And then he looked back again. I said, "I'll tell you what." I said, "Could I take the dog if he don't bite me?" I don't know. He stuck the barrel right in his head like that. I said, "Oh man, don't shoot the dog, please," because I hate him about here. And he looked at me, he said, "All right." So I walked over to the dog, put my hand like that. And then I realized, wait, this is the same dog we're playing with the kids. I took the dog by, he didn't have a collar, took him by the hair. And I said, "Come on, doggy," because I didn't have no name for him. I said, "Come on, doggy." And she walked right with me. I opened the doors to my bus. The dog got on my bus. Yeah. And she stayed on my bed right there on that bus. I forgot left the door cracked. Well, I was inside the building getting some of my equipment together, you know. Yeah. And next thing I know, the dog was in there laying down right by me. Aww. And so I drove home with that dog, and she's with me now. That dog, she's so obedient. I may have to blame her. She's so obedient. She don't bother nobody. She don't bark. She just.
What's her name now?
I call her Lucky.
Lucky.
She got lucky.
She did. Yeah. And she walked off one time. I had to go to dog pound again, and the guy knew me. He said, "That's true." I said, "Yeah." But she ain't left no more since then. She realized now that, you know what I mean, she's got to get home.
She's the independent lady.
Yeah. You get this in trouble, like the term. Because to me, when you stipulate something, you're being prejudiced yourself. You just don't realize it. Yeah. And sometimes we are. Sometimes we are. Don't put that risk in. Sometimes, look at me, sometimes we are our own biggest enemy, not nobody else. Thank God. You're going to do one.
I don't know.
You're not sure?
Dependent now because, yeah.
No matter how good you think you are, it doesn't mean a thing if you don't know how to show yourself how to have a great spirit. Without a great spirit, you just won't make it. Now, I've made it this long in my life because of the spirit and being able how to deal with people. I've been in some real tight situations, but then always my intuition tells me what to do and what not to do. Yeah, don't mean you don't make a mistake. Yeah, we've all made them, you know, but you don't do it again, you know. So if I can get them to understand, to go out, always associate with your audience. No matter what, no matter how great you think you are, always associate with your audience. That's why Mr. Brown made it. So those guys were like out in the audience. They get Michael Jackson. I mean, even though they kept him away when he got older, I was especially the same way. I mean, his media, we know, changed. He was not like that. I was especially was one of the sweetest people you ever want to meet. I mean, he was great. I mean, he was really great. I mean, he's regular. That's why I learned how to do it. Can you do it? Come on. Can you do it? Come on.
I don't think I can.
Yes, she can. Yes, she did it.
I like you. I like those dance, by the way. Those are cool.
Oh, he's got the outfits.
Hey.
And then something I can do.
Oh my gosh.
I can do the guitar. I can do that. But I have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And when I see people, it's not about to deal. It's not about I gotta have it. My thing is just to make you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And your name again. I said, what the heck? So I get home and let everybody know.
So my first question for you tonight, Get Shorty, is how did you start your journey as a musician?
My journey as a musician started. My parents were ministers. My mother and father were ministers. And so I played in church. I started with a place called the Supreme Council of the House of Jacob. We wasn't allowed to do sports and stuff like that in those days. So I played around with the guitar. I was banging. I wasn't playing, but I was banging for a while. That's how I got started. Then my sister, who was a majorette, she left home early, and she was a Dunbar cadet there in Washington, D.C., and then she got a job with Mickey and Sylvia as a guitar player, and that's who helped me along the way. If you listen to Love is Strange, that's her solo on there now, and she passed in 1981.
Hmm.
So I continued on with my music, and then my dad was a coal miner, and so things would change, and we moved out of Zanesville and went to Charleston, West Virginia, and that's where I got into schools and doing different things, and and learning about it. And my dad was a custodian at the West Virginia State College in Institute, West Virginia. And when they integrated schools, I went to Dunbar, and that's where I played football. I had a scholarship there, but my church didn't allow me to play football. So I kind of got really disencouraged. And later on, my dad got real sick, so we had to move to Florida because he got the black lung. And we ended up moving to Florida. And so from there on, I hooked up with a guy named Big Joe Dynamo, which you go to my website, says get-shorty.com, and you'll see some of that stuff. And they were called the Chanteurs and all. We just kind of played around, and he taught me a lot about music and started teaching me things that I need to know. And I went to the Sir John Hotel, which was in Miami. Didn't know who Mr. Brown was, but I used to practice his music because I had to sneak and do it. But my mom didn't allow you to. They used to call it devil's music. You can't do that here. And so I used to sneak out the porch and play. When I heard the cars coming, I'd run and put the guitar up and hide and put it in the room, covered up like ain't nobody bothered it.
Nobody here.
And from there on, I moved on. I won a talent show doing a number of Hound Dog at the Sir John Hotel. James Brown just happened to be in there that night, and he came up and asked me about my rhythm. Basically, what's gotten started was my rhythm, and that's how I got started. And he went to my mom, and my mom had a fit, but I snuck away anyway, and moved on to Augusta, Georgia, and that's where I got to start at. Him teaching me, and then that's who helped me go to school as well, because I was playing by ear, and I thought it was okay, but I come to find out I was way, way, way behind. The ear is okay, but knowledge is better. It doesn't make you the greatest player in the world, but it allows you to understand what you need to do. And so I tell people, but then there are some people who's great with ear, and then there's some people who are painters who can still read the sheet, but if you move the sheet, then they're done. And some people with ear can continue to go because they have that feel. So you can't really knock them today. And I tell people, don't knock anyone. Allow him to be who he wants to be without judging him or feeling he needs to be like you. We all are separate, different musicians, and we come in the world different. So I continued that on, and after I left them, I went with Sam and Dave, and we went to TK Studios, was the big studio in Miami at that time. And Sam and Dave, they took me under their wings, and from them on, I just started doing different stuff. And then I went to school, and then I started being a maestro, which took a lot of work because I couldn't read. I didn't know about music, so I had to practice every day. It kept me out of trouble in the long run.
Yeah, it would.
I've never got into drugs or drink. I don't drink now. I never have. I drink water and pop. But that's me. That's not for everybody.
Right.
And when people make the think, well, if you don't do this, you'll be okay. Well, it really doesn't matter. I mean, your body's your choice. And I don't think anybody should judge you for the way you want to handle it. It's supposed to be a free world. That's what they say anyway.
I agree.
Part of it. And I mean, I continue on and on and go for hours. I don't want to do that. But if somebody has something they'd like to ask me, I would like to say this to musicians, though. If everybody needs to learn to love each other, love them for what they do. Don't love them for what you want them to do or be like you. And it's okay to play cover. It's okay to have originals, but you need to have respect. First of all, music is more than just playing. It's more to it than that. Roy Clark, which is one of my favorite guitar players, I hung around with him a lot. Him and Glenn Campbell. Those guys are great musicians, okay? Another guy named Johnny Guitar Watson I played for. So they taught me a lot on how, and I saw things that I didn't want to do. And that's what I based myself on. The good things that they taught me. And I took that and put it to heart. And also give me an imagination. Yeah, I play cover, but I also have my own stuff that I can play too. So everybody have a way and attack things like they want to. We just have to. And he is too. And all the musicians are this Buddy Guy. I didn't realize it, but back in the magazine they had me written. And when I used to put the guitar on the wall, I was in Boca Raton, Florida, and around those areas. And I was playing with a dude named A.C. Jones, who was a great guitarist, and that's who helped me along the way. But the tricks I was doing, I didn't know because I wasn't a very good player. I had one solo. That was it. No matter what I played, that's how the solo went. So they said, Shorty, can you learn something else? I said, well, I hit the guitar on the wall. Hit it with my foot. I was just clowning. I did not have no idea that somebody was scouting me, picking up on that and taking it back to Buddy Guy. That's how he learned some of them. And so, but I still respect him for what he do. I've been around him too. I understand one of my other friends died, Guitar Shorty, which I am the original Guitar Shorty. I own the name. I own it. That's my first name is Guitar Shorty. Okay, so
Oh yeah.
But the Git my new release with the record, they thought it was a little more catchier because I was outside one night and they were looking for me because I'm always wireless and I was outside. Somebody said, "Get Shorty." Well, they come. It was a joke. I didn't know it. The police had me handcuffed to him, so I would go see it. Back into the club, and I'm like, everybody's like looking, but it was a trick they pulled on me. But that's how I got that name, Get Shorty.
That's hilarious.
And I like variety of music. I play any kind of music you name. I like to play it. I have a great ear, but I also have the knowledge and understanding. Like I tell guitar players, there's a lot more. There's a lot more than solos. There's a lot of people, that's what they want to do, but it's good to learn the basics and learn the beginning of what you need to do. Yeah, I know freight chords in the book, and I know how all the structures, but sometimes it's more to it than that. And that's where the schooling comes in. You know, like a flat 5 or a 13th. There's certain places, voicings is a big deal. A lot of people don't understand voicings anymore. They just go for the solo. And solo is great, but you can play a solo with just about anything that you want. Doesn't matter what it is. And so, but that's his choice. So but for me, I'm into a lot of different chords. I know, and I can retain a billion songs in my head, remembering all the chords. But you ask me your name, I'll be forgot it in 2 seconds. I mean, if you tell me your name in 2 seconds, I'll be forgot it. But I know I can retain all those chords. I don't use sheets in front of me. I learn my stuff and I just play it, and I retain it at 80-some years old. You know, and
that's amazing.
You know what it is. It's like math. You get used to it. Music is math. People don't realize it. And trigonometry, all that stuff is math. That's still music. You know, and so I was a great mathematics in school, and I took up a lot of stuff. And it does help. But it didn't make me the greatest guy in the world. You know, you still got to learn.
Yes.
You can't get cocky. You can't think it's all about you. If your audience, no matter what you do, it's all about your audience. And you have to show them appreciation no matter what you do. Show your audience appreciation. Go out, speak to people, shake their hands, say thank you for coming. I appreciate your visiting. I mean, I did a show in my own hometown.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I stood at the door and shook everybody's hand that came in. Nobody, what are you doing? Yeah, because they need to know that I'm friendly, that I'm a happy guy. I enjoy them coming and seeing me.
Yep.
Right, and that's what makes you. They make you. You don't make yourself. People need to understand that. Musicians and everybody. I don't care if you're an entertainer. I don't care if you're an artist or actress. You don't make yourself. No matter how you look at it, you don't make yourself. The audience is what make you. I mean, no matter what. I mean, me and Prince were great friends, you know, and he came out with a real remedy of how he sold his CDs. When he changed his name and he couldn't do this. He done it. He stood his ground and he done it, you know. And so, and he was a great person, great guitarist. I remember when he couldn't play a lick, you know, but it's like, hey, look at it now, what he come out with. And so like Jimi Hendrix back in those days, those guys, they were just awesome. Another guy named Wayne Bennett played with Joe Scott. That's where I got a lot of my rhythm from, because I don't use a guitar pick. I don't play it. The reason I don't play with a pick because I got fined $150 from James Brown because I bent over in a party to pick the pick up and he did like that with his hand and smiled. I thought I had it made. I said, shoot, man, I'm good. That's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. When I got my check, it was deducted. We was only getting $300. I only had $150, and I had to survive for another month with that. So I have an odd style because I rhythm and I play. I don't pull strength. It's really a smooth. You have to see me do it sometimes. Sometimes we will on the show. The way I do it is just totally different, and I don't play like an 82-year-old man. Because
no, you don't.
Some
of your fans compare you to a 20 or 30-year-old person.
Yeah. I was that weird. Even when I turn my numbers around, it don't fit me. When I say I'm 28, it still doesn't work. 82, so I
just switch those numbers. Go.
Yeah,
you're
around.
Yeah,
very
and the main goal.
energetic.
Right. The main goal for musicians is what my point I'm trying to get across is just come down, be yourself, keep an open mind. You know what I mean, and appreciate everybody. It don't matter who it is. You don't even have to like them, but they still deserve that respect.
I agree.
There's some guys, well, I don't really like what they do, but that's okay. But respect what they do anyway. You know, because sometimes if you try to do it, you probably couldn't do it. Nobody ever thinks about that. Yeah, I can show you something now that you play. You can hand it to somebody and say, well, I really don't like it. But give them that same instrument. Say, well, why don't you do this for me? And I will show you how many people that you can just look at and say, well, that ain't it. That's not it. So you have to learn to just, my main thing is respect everybody. And I do not get upset and let nothing upset me. I stay happy all the time. Even when they're late, I just smile. I might be ducky, but I smile. I was out there last year too. So, but that's kind of where I'm from. And I play with everybody, but none of that. A lot of people, I've been here all this time in Zanesville, they know that I'm here, but they just now decided to recognize it. But that's just because I'm not one of those guys that got to go out and say, well, I'm this, or I did this, or I played with such. It doesn't matter who you play with. It doesn't matter how many years you played. If you didn't put the proper time in, it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And I see, and I listen to you guys stuff, and somebody said, well, this. Oh, no, first of all, you're wrong. Appreciate it first. Quit thinking because it's not you.
And be through the music that you produce.
Right. And so when you do that, you're going to have some dislikes and likes and dislikes. That's part of the world. That's why they call it free world. It's not, but it's because of a world where you have the probability to produce and do what you want to do, and also make people satisfied with it. And that's what you're trying to do. Don't mean you're always going to hit it every time. You know what I mean? I mean, you look at Kiss. All those guys I know, look at Kiss. Eddie Van Halen, who was a dear friend of mine. I had hooked up with a group out of Beaver Falls called the Gennady Brothers. So those guys were great. They went out as G-Force. So, but they learned. They had to learn a lesson.
Right.
Eddie Van Halen been out here for a long time. Remember, he knows the ropes. You can't get around him. I mean, he's not here now, but I always gonna love him.
Yeah.
Of course.
He was a great person. Believe me, I'm telling you, he was a great person.
I can only imagine. I've heard only good things about Eddie.
Oh, yeah. Everybody have what they want to do in their life. People judge him for what they do. Leave that be. He's a great musician. Forget what he does. I don't care if he did drugs till he stood on his head. It doesn't matter to me. He's a great musician.
Right.
First thing that happens to a musician, everybody talking about what he done. Well, you know what? So what?
Well, and speaking of good musicians, Jimmy Moore wanted to say, hi, Shorty. I've enjoyed our times on stage together. A lot of fun.
Oh, tell him great. Tell him hello. And maybe we get a chance to see each other.
Thanks for tuning in tonight.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
The one that really put me to work was I Want to Be Your Man.
Yes, that was one of my favorites.
Yes. Now, I had the rights to record Bad Mama Jamma because Carl Carlton, I played for Carl Carlton. His family gave me the rights. Also for Tartaglia by Johnny Guitar Watson. His family gave me the rights because I played for him. He passed away in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys went down a path which was their choice. I never say nothing bad. I had a guy come to me telling about what happened to Princess. First
people
of all,
make their choices in life.
Sometimes I tell them, hold on, you look at him for the good things he done. Well, we always bring up
exactly.
But I really know Prince. I know Prince's problem. They say it's not drugs. Prince's problem was because what he was into, they didn't allow surgery. 7-day Adventist, you can't do surgeries. They don't allow you to do that. And with the heels and stuff he wore and doing the split, he's amazing entertainer. He could put on anything and look good. It didn't matter what it was.
Yeah. I've been in love with Prince since I was like 11.
Yeah, and you look, there's another lady out there, her name is Barbara Mandrell, who was a horn player. I met all those sisters.
Yes, Barbara Mandrell and the Mandrell sisters.
Yeah, there's so many great people, those people who I watch, and I don't look at what they do, what I dislike. I look at what I like about them, and I take that and I use it somewhere where I go. So when I go to listen to a band, I'm not interested in how they sound all the time. I'm not interested in trying to criticize them. I'm interested, here's something I can do. But nobody musicians quit doing that anymore. They just go out and say, well, this is me and it's all about me. Well, that's okay. But if the audience walk out, it is about you, just you.
Right.
And sometimes I play with just the chair. I'll tell them I'll make the chairs happy. I don't care. I don't care if nobody's there. I'm going to be happy. If one person same show that a billion people did. I played the City of Art in Italy, which there's very few people been there. Because I didn't know what they were saying, but they were clapping their hands. I was hoping they were clapping for me to keep going. I didn't know if they was or not. But they knew all my material. So a couple of words I missed, they knew them. I'm like, well, I better get it together tomorrow night. But I'm saying those things happen to you. And I can see you ladies understand what I'm saying, and it's great for people in the world to understand. But when you're starting out, learn to know where you're going. Don't get cocky too quick.
Yes.
I'm getting
Here,
a
here,
lot of love
yes.
from 300. I had to start for a whole week almost.
Because he drops his spit.
So I'll practice every day in the hotel, not use the guitar. I haven't used one since. I do everything with my hands and rhythm and everything. It's kind of crazy style, you know, but I had to learn how to do it. You know, but a pick is nice. I don't kick nobody who uses them.
Right, oh,
They made
him what he was, and I agree. I totally
But inside, and they'll do it to you too. They'll do it to anybody. It's not just Albert. They do it all the time.
Oh, I've been.
And I walk through life.
I've been on the label. I know.
It has never ever changed. I'm on the label now. I'm on the record label. I've been on one for life, and I've been traveling with Tyrone Davis, Salmon Dave, Jordan Women, Craig, Tisha, Bama, all the girls.
When it comes down to it, the label, when you're on the label, especially when you're at a certain tier on the label, you're gonna do what the label says.
That's where the work starts.
You know, that's where.
That's why people look at divorce and think, well, you know, like somebody's telling you about a divorce. I said, well, it's okay, but guess what? They use you. If you're stupid, you still ain't going to.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
That's right.
It's got nothing to do with how well you play. It's got to do with the knowledge of music and the foundation of understanding what you need and what you need not to do. And I am a different kind of a guy. I've never allowed anybody to guide me. I like all musicians. Now, if they get cocky, I just leave them be. If they, like you guys are happy all the time. You make me welcome. But I go around here a lot, and a lot of guys.
That's what it's all about.
They're like real weird, and I just say, okay. They don't need to know what I know. They don't need to know what I can do.
I get it all. I get it all the time. Trust me.
And that the type of knowledge that you have and stuff. I'm the type of person, especially as a musician, that I'm eager. I want to play with people that are better than me, and I want to learn from people that.
And sometimes, guys, it's not them being better than you, and because I'm a musician, I believe we're all equal. And this is my motto. I believe we're all equal. We all have something different to offer. That's what makes the music.
We do.
So we should learn to just respect it. However, that's been lost through the years just because of people coming in not understanding. And they think music is a glamour. It is, but it's got some badass ways in it too.
Oh, you ain't kidding,
man.
man.
In the wrong direction, you're done. So some people, quote unquote, like Wild Cherry, I know those guys. I recorded with them. All those guys, and my writers write for them too. Mervyn and Melvin Seals. They're from Pittsburgh. They're two twins. And so you've been around all those guys and doing certain things. I've been with Johnny Guitar Watson. Those guys, man, you got to understand. Yeah, you get into glamour, but there's a guidance to it. And then there's a thing, you don't control your life anymore. You ask the Eagles, you ask anybody, you ask all those guys. You know, I've been around with them. You know, and so you got to understand that it's not all glamorous as it appears to be.
Oh, no.
There's some rocks, and you give up your life. You decide like a devil. Do you want to give it up, or do you want to own it?
You know, when you say that, when you say that, Janie Lane from Warren, the singer from Warren, is a good friend of mine.
Yeah, John Lane's a badass.
Yeah, good friend of mine. And we all, when we talk, especially if we was on the road and stuff, when we would talk, it'd be the same conversation. What are you doing? I'm sitting here staring at the walls. Because it's the loneliest thing in the world at the end of the show when you go back to that room. As a front man, that's a lone, you know.
Well, like when he came to Pittsburgh with Buddy Guy, John Lane is my buddy, so he came out to see him with Buddy Guy down there. Not Pittsburgh, right here in Columbus. And Buddy Guy told the people, shut up, they can't sing. And I said, Johnny, did you hear him say that? Yeah, but Johnny Lane's a badass dude. Actually, quote unquote.
Johnny
Lane made the show.
That's Johnny Lane, yeah.
Johnny Lane made the show because Johnny Lane's a badass. He got a badass band. And they put it together. And remember, now he cut his hair back some now, so he used to wouldn't sing at all. Now he started singing, he's the man.
Oh, yeah. He was great.
Kenny Wayne Shepherd Band.
Yeah.
Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
His guitars were B.B. King and Stevie Ray.
That's right, yeah.
Now, we hit them names from Zanesville, but since you're from this area, and
I was born, actually, I was raised 1034 Jackson Street here in Zanesville.
So
I went to McIntyre School, it's the greatest school.
I went to McIntyre. That shows you right there. Lincoln Elementary is just right up the street.
It doesn't matter where you come from because music, if you follow it, you follow it from here. It can. I mean, I've been 2 countries and halfway around the world playing rock. So it can take you anywhere. It's going to be the greatest thing that ever happened to you, and probably the worst thing at the same time.
It's your choices that you decide.
Yeah.
You know you just got it when you start playing and feeling it.
I was told when I was young, the first time I met Eric Moore, you know, he told me, he said, boy, he said, if you follow this and follow your heart and give 100%. Like you do, you know, because he saw us, we opened up for it. He said, like you do and like we do and everybody else. He says, I promise you, you're gonna, you might do good, you might make it, but you're going to end up alone and broken in the end. Because in the end, when you give 100% of yourself, there's nothing to give to anybody else. You know, when you give it all. So, and you know, I've seen that. I've seen the one, you know.
Music. I've been really believing. I mean, I'm not contradicting because I understand what you're saying. But music, let me explain something to you. Music is a thing within inside of you. If you want to do it 100%, but one thing about it is no matter if it's hard rock, if it's whatever, it doesn't matter. We
That's
got
it.
too many people judging people because of what they do.
No,
You shouldn't do that.
No.
Because that's that guy's
Exactly.
choice. If he chooses to do hard rock, he wants to do whatever, that's okay. Now, when he hits your stage, you have the directions of which
Right.
you want him to go. But it's his choice to do whatever he wants.
I agree.
And I try to get guys to listen around here. It's been very hard for me to do. I've talked to Paul about it a lot.
Yeah, it's
Paul,
so
I'm
quick.
about to get some of these young guys, get their heads down, get them to understand it ain't about you. I went to see a guy the other night. I don't care if I do call his name, because I could care less. What's it, Andy? What's his name? Andy? Well, I straightened him up because you're like, hey, man, you know what? Quote unquote, you bring your butt down on this earth. Because you're not the only one here that does music. And then he told me,
Get that chip off your
so I
shoulder.
told him, I said, oh, so you told me you went to school for me? Oh, no. Now he tells me, oh, no, I didn't. But he did when we sat to the table. Oh, no, I didn't. I said, well, by the way, I graduated from Juilliard in 1960, second in my class. Not because I'm the first back, because I'm the guy who chooses to be a good musician and then do it my color. Oh, okay,
Right.
there you
Nothing to do
go.
with it.
That's what I choose to do.
Right.
And if you choose to do it, it doesn't matter what you look like.
Yep.
And the true music should be, if you want to do hard rock and you want to play it on number 10, that's your choice.
It doesn't matter. That's right.
Now, if you
I
want
don't
to go,
care if it's country
and if
or
you go with somebody
all
else, and
genres,
they say, hey,
you
do
know.
this, then you learn to adapt to what
it's
they want you
music.
to do.
It can't, you know.
And it has all kinds of stuff. I mean, like I tell guitar players, there's billions and billions of chords. I'm a chord artist. I got billions of chords, and I knew every last one of them. But that doesn't make me the best.
No.
So I got to understand there's other guys out there that can do the same thing. There's guys out there, you learn from it. Keep an open mind. Take something from everybody. Like he just said, that's what he just said.
Yeah.
If you learn, you know what, you always can pick up something and use it.
Right.
Your way. Don't
One
want to
person
be
good.
like,
Like you said, it might not be, you know, you might not be the best, but what you play, what you.
was Rory Clark.
Yeah. That man is just
The
amazing.
next best guy is right
He's
beside
just-
him.
it's just
The
a
next best guy
hundred.
is beside him. People don't believe it. Glenn Campbell.
Campbell. Oh yeah. Campbell.
People
All
don't
day long.
understand. These
You're
guys
gonna
are awesome. They're awesome.
Believe me, I
They're
grew up
like-
You're looking at
all
a huge
They're like-
Campbell fan, man.
And I've seen Glenn Campbell. I was in Detroit. It's in 1995. Glenn Campbell. They had Glenn Campbell, Chet Atkins, and Kenny Burrell.
Was he the
And
rhinestone
Glenn
cowboy
Campbell,
or
Glenn Campbell just walked the door. The dude can do anything with strings. I don't care what instrument you give him. He can do it and he never lose. And
See,
off
that's
the
amazing.
stage, but off the
Boy,
stage,
right there.
his personality. That's where I got it from. He says, always keep that. His personality. You'll always stay humble. It doesn't matter how well
Exactly.
you
You
do.
can see that through his stage presence,
Sure.
though, and through his
That's-
music.
yeah.
I have a real hard time with
amazing
that.
guitar player?
Yeah, well,
Amazing.
you got an ego, man.
Yeah, he got a big ego.
Look, you said Glenn
Look
Campbell.
at that head. Don't it? You got
That's a Quinn for
That's why I got this big body to support it.
You said
But,
Glenn
you
Campbell
know,
with Chet Atkins.
But the
Now,
reason I came,
mighty
and
Quinn.
I want to say this because you guys are here, you know, and Paul talked to me about it. As soon as he called your name, I thought, oh yeah, man, them guys are great. Yeah, I'll be there. Because that's what we should
No, we
do.
appreciate it.
But that's
I mean-
what we should do. It shouldn't matter how big you think
And
you
no,
are.
that's-
you should just
That's
do
right.
that.
Look.
A lot of these guys are just too into themselves to realize, you know what? Music guys got to. Back in my day, everybody played well because everybody would learn from each other. We get in the room like we're doing now, and everybody says,
Yes.
"Yeah, boy, this is cool. But do this voice." Okay, hey, yeah, that's the way it
fine.
goes. Nowadays, if you go to a guy, the first thing you do is show you what he knows. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who
Well,
really
We
cares?
all play together.
We all know
We do
something.
here all the time. We do here all the time.
I waived my appearance fee to be here.
I know you did. I know you did.
no, dude, I paid him $1.50. Don't let him fool you. That's a
I can pay you back
black
now.
buck $50.
I can pay you back now.
But you know, guys.
Gel with somebody.
Yeah, but you know, guys, I got into music, and when I started, I come out of a church, and I didn't know but a couple of chords, okay? And you know, but I went on the road, and I won the talent show doing ain't nothing but a hound dog in my
You learned.
Oh, it takes
You
three.
learned from. You might have went to Juilliard and learned something.
Yeah,
but you
I
learned.
Yeah, but from
The
the
real
highways,
way.
The real way is
It's a
when you get the
hands-on
highways.
You
thing.
went
It's
the
a
real.
hands-on.
Juilliard will make you a painter if that's what you want.
Right.
If you understand what I'm saying.
But you wanna be an
Yeah,
artist?
but you got no feeling to it.
Yeah.
It's like a
You
horn
got
player.
it.
Right.
Now move that sheet. He'll be.
Now, it's just, now see what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about the. You know, and there is that level.
So
of,
does not everybody need to read? That's
No.
what I tell guys. Everybody don't need to
I can't read music for nothing,
And
but I
there-
wrote a couple
but-
decent songs.
Yeah, but there's some guys they don't need to read. They have natural talent. You
Yeah.
got to learn.
Oh,
how to-
man.
how-
Prodigies,
You have to learn how to
prodigies.
earn and respect it
Earn.
when a guy comes to you
There you
with
go.
natural
Got
talent.
it.
So
Right
some
there.
people turn him away. Like, man, don't turn just because you don't like what he do. Don't throw him away because you don't really. One of these days he might be the one to help you. You just never know.
Recognize.
You know,
Recognize.
that's what
So
we
that's why I
that's
carry
what we
my
try to
stuff
do
like that.
here with the show.
That's right. You do
When
good.
I had my label downtown, that's what I don't care who you were. If you wanted to,
The same thing with Johnny Guitar Watson. He's a keyboard player, but he taught himself how to play guitar. So he played the keyboard just like he played the guitar.
Oh.
Both of them the same. So all those guys I played with them all. I know it. Believe me, I can tell you the story. Tisha Campbell, I can go down and
So you got
and
to play with Jeff
Tyrone
Beck?
Davis. Oh yes, Jeff Beck, all those guys. past.
No,
Anybody you name, I've been on stage with.
We should have. You're right. We should.
But those guys were
recognize
great,
that.
man. Jeff Beck is a great dude.
You know, Led Zeppelin became Led Zeppelin because they went and saw the Jeff Beck group.
Sure. Well, a lot of people, that's inspiration. That's what I get everywhere I go. I still travel. I mean, I'm still on the world.
We get the inspirations in
You
this
drive your own bus.
Yeah, I got a couple tour.
He don't drive his own bus. He ain't for me none.
No, I'm not.
he drives
I know you do. I'm just.
I ain't nobody saying.
I've been on that bus. I know. I've been on that bus. I know.
You gotta live.
But I want you guys to know. But I do want you guys to know that sometimes what we got to do is get the musicians. If then nobody else want to do it, we need to get together and put something together and do a big show for something separate from the Dad Blame City, something separate from the Secrets Auditorium. Get away from this political stuff and try to do what you can. I ain't serious, guys.
I do something like that when the musicians hangout girls come down.
They are great too. Yeah, we could.
Are they wonderful?
Do something
Yeah.
like
I want
that.
to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out.
I'm going to be out close to them
Musicians hangout.
in June.
Yes.
I'll be right out there close.
See?
I have family out there. It's like second
I'm
home.
playing out
I
there.
know
I'll be out
they
there for a
still
whole month.
You need some backup?
Yeah,
You know,
I'm going to call you guys sometime.
Here's the thing about those girls.
Go ahead.
Those girls, two of the most wonderful women in the world, right?
Yeah.
They're doing something that they came from the bottom of their heart that they decided to do,
Right.
and turned it into a. You know, when I first met him,
Yeah, but he doesn't have that. He thinks you have to train. I keep telling you, train dogs, you teach people. I keep trying to do that in his head. I said, I want you. If the person don't have it, to get it.
Is that the tall guy?
Yeah.
I love him, man.
He's hard.
He's
from West Virginia.
I'm gonna tell you
The only
what.
man can come over here.
He's not from West Virginia.
Oh, I thought that's where he lived.
I don't care where he's from.
Youngstown, Ohio.
It's from. I would say he's from Rock and Roll, Ohio, because that
Yeah.
boy can get it. He can get it.
But he
And when
comes
he hits
to
it with
Danville
the
plays
highs,
player.
he comes in with the.
No one
back
plays
off.
player right here.
I love that
Never
dude,
needed
man.
it.
When I go to watch you, I'm always watching, but I love watching him because it just.
Well, I'm going to be down to the Axe Place because I'm doing
Kicking ass.
Oh, kicking ass.
February
Kicking ass
4th.
church.
It's a
February
birthday
4th.
party for a guy, but I can't put it out as a birthday party.
Right.
I know the girl, I know her family, so I'm doing it for her later.
Good.
I'll be there on
Awesome.
February the 4th.
Small, isn't it?
It's a lot larger than you think if you haven't been in
I know,
there.
but wait, guys, let me tell you something. I teach guys about music. This is one thing everybody needs to learn. It's not
Listen.
about the size. I'll play in a bathroom if you hire me. I don't
Sir.
I don't care about none of that. Because
Women's room or the men's
the
room?
main thing you explain to people is, it's not about the size. It's what you need to do.
That's the guy.
It doesn't matter where you are.
And no matter what.
And you know what? The acoustics, I'm a pro with acoustics. I can go in the place and clap my hands. I'll guarantee you I come out of it with the best sound.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I know how to do that. I've been
I
doing it
believe
for
you.
years. So I don't worry about none of that silly stuff that people worry about because a lot of guys that's local don't understand that.
Right.
And you know what? And when they don't, that's okay.
That's
I'm not
just
gonna
man.
judge them. And if they don't want to listen, that's okay too. You know?
We'll help them if we can, right? That's what we should do.
So but the size of the place, you don't build them. So you tell people right away, I'm a musician. I don't build houses. I don't build clubs. I want them to play. If you hire me, I'll play them.
Mm-hmm.
You just pay me, I'm fine. I don't care.
That's right.
And if I choose to do something different on church, like I'm down there, I choose to because they are my friends. My britches stay the same size. Okay? And so I don't worry about what it looks like. I don't care about what it looks like.
It ain't about
You
that.
want some music? Let's go in there and play it.
Some of the best.
I remember back in the day,
tours
guys.
just
You
in the
see
small
this room here, guys?
places,
Back in the
best
90s,
shows.
back in the 50s and the 60s. You see this room? This was it. The hall would be full with people. We'd be
Oh yeah, in the corner.
Outside.
Yeah.
Out on the porch.
Or
right?
outside, yeah.
I've
The
had
whole
them right
neighborhood
here
to
in
do
this
that.
living room, man. It's
We need
amazing.
to figure
Right here,
and
in
we
this
need-
town.
Yeah, and we need to
Yeah.
figure out now how to get back to that some kind of way. Somebody got to grab the hold of it. Somebody go with me. I got the finance. I got everything, equipment. I got everything we need.
Well, you ain't-
The thing of it
You
is-
said the wrong thing, brother, because you got it.
Well, we need to do that. And you, man, I'm gonna tell you something. Come here. You shake my hand, because I'm gonna tell you something. You're a great guitar player, and you got the greatest spirit, man. I'm telling you, you got a great spirit. When I played around with you, man, I mean, you made me feel so.
He really is. He really is.
And all of you
We
the
love
same.
this guy.
He's one of the greatest
Except
men
for
I've
don't
ever
count him.
Hey, well,
He's an asshole.
Turn your head.
Piss on that.
We ain't talking about you.
We all need a
So
roadie,
he got
man.
blonde hair. I ain't got none. You see what I mean?
We all need somebody to carry our equipment.
Yeah, we gotta have somebody. But no,
I got
man,
a dolly.
You guys gotta know my heart, and I will never forget that, man. All of you.
You know, it ain't about. It's not about us as musicians.
That's about
It's not about us.
Matt Frampton.
Because you, like you said, you play in the bathroom. You play in
I
the
don't care.
bathroom.
You hire me, I'm
It's
there.
not about us.
Yeah. Nope.
It's about what we
Everybody
can
want a
give.
pretty place that they need a pile of people. You don't need nobody. Go in there and do what you
But
do
it's
and forget
about
it.
what we can give back to the
If you have,
people.
if you have one person, give it to them. They're gonna tell
That's
somebody
it.
else.
That's
Music connection connects people.
Oh, he didn't know how to. I was so sick I couldn't sign up. Nobody even knew it.
And you still put your guitar on.
Yep. I put it on. As soon as I put it on,
Yeah,
I can deal. Now, when I took it off, I went on the bus with the song. But when I had no money, as long as I strap it, you know what I mean, don't you? It's that special feeling you get.
It's spiritual.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
right. God
And
gave
so-
us
and it's
to us.
spirit. So it's my therapy, and it keeps me going. So
God
that's
gave
what
music
music
to
needs to learn, teach guys, the younger guys that haven't been around when we have. We need to somehow get their eyes open and get them to understand, the real footage of music.
Everybody, you had starting out. It wasn't easy. It's
Oh,
still
no.
not easy, but I mean, it's a hell of a lot easier now than it was.
When I do what I want.
But right, but
Yeah,
some
the
ways-
difference now
some ways
is
it's
the
not.
difference now is I do what I want.
Right.
I
His
own
road, he
myself.
do what the hell he
So
wants.
I put my money, I finance
Right.
myself
Right.
to be where you know what? You don't tell me what to do, piss on you. If I
Right,
don't wanna
but
do it,
starting out,
it ain't about money with me. If I don't like you and you don't want to do me right, piss on you. I go
but
somewhere else.
starting out was hard.
And
I mean, as a musician, it's a little
Well,
hard.
it's always going to be
You gotta-
rough. No
you
matter
gotta-
what you do, it's going to be rough after you get out of it.
But like you
That's
said,
not
though,
the real deal. Yeah.
some of
But
them
you learn
kids
how to
out
own
there,
yourself as you go. You learn the
you
business.
should.
The business
You're
aspect is
supposed
what
to.
you need to know.
You're
That's
supposed- right.
that's where the trick is.
And the kids
playing
out
the
there-
guitar, playing the guitar is fine. Knowing all about it is fine. But if you don't get the business aspect, you're still lost. And
There's a
that's what happened to a lot
couple
of
people that
Yeah.
really helped you on the business side, right?
Sure, me.
You?
No, I'm joking.
Well,
Come on.
and
But
nowadays-
no, I got the best with Paul.
As you
You
said,
know,
it's not as hard, but in a way, it's almost harder nowadays because with all the social media, everything is out there. If somebody puts a record out, it's digital and it's out there already and it's
Yeah.
everywhere. You have
A lot
to
of
have
your
TikTok,
shows
you
are
have to have-
staged now.
and to cut through all of the clutter, there's a lot of other stuff that you have to do now extra besides just putting it out there.
Yeah, depends on who you know. It's still the
Yeah,
same thing.
exactly.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what.
That's right.
The songs
And
that,
this right here.
just the concept album that I was putting in, not even my solo. That's what I said. It's not easy.
That's all. Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
This is what we love it. You love to do it. It's what we do. It's not. It's who we are. It's not what we do. It's who we are.
That's it. We love
But
it.
it's
We don't
not
care.
easy.
Yeah, we don't care whether it's hard or not.
Like
though,
you
because
said,
we love
you
it.
were in a hotel.
Yeah.
As a front man,
Right.
people think it's, I'm out there, I was back in, 20 years ago, I was out there partying like you ain't ever seen when I first got signed. But over the years, I got to be in bed by 9, 10 o'clock after the show, 11 o'clock, midnight. I got to get my rest. These guys could be out there hanging it up. I got this voice, it might sound like shit, but it's still mine, and I got to take care of it. It might,
That's what you got to use.
there's a singer around town, a front man around town, a vocalist, not a vocalist around town that I'm a huge fan of.
Right.
He doesn't like me at all. I don't know why. It is what it is. Still, I still think he has talent. He has.
So you respect his time.
Oh, respect it.
You
Like you ain't never
if I like the guy, not if he
Right.
He might piss me off. But now if he can't play and give me a lot of shit, then I'll win the ball game. Then I'll be a little shit.
it's
He
not
knows
like
I
that.
will. He knows I get it.
And the cool thing about it, this cat has taken care of his voice. I mean, he doesn't.
Who is he?
I'm not going to say on air, but
You
I
shouldn't. You shouldn't.
because of respect.
Yeah, but you respect him.
I respect him.
But you're not putting him down. You're giving him
No,
credit
no.
for his talent.
Right, right.
So
It-
do
There's that
respect for
aspect.
that.
Go ahead, you can talk about me, go
Look.
ahead.
The aspect like Robert Plant is dating Alison Krauss now. He had another album with her,
Right.
and one of her good friends is that guy that used to have some sugar poured onto him,
Yeah.
Def Leppard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't help it.
Robert Plant said, I remember meeting him a while back.
What everybody else do, I got nothing to do with it.
Right.
But just
You
like
can't
that.
put him down because of what he do.
Right, right, exactly.
He got say he laid around, he got so drunk he couldn't stand up, right? But he stand up when he do stand up, he plays his ass off.
Look.
I've seen that before.
Hey.
I've seen that.
Hey, you know what I mean?
He gets on stage.
I'm gonna tell you what. 14 years I played side by side with a man, one of the greatest guitar players I've ever played with.
Yeah, yeah.
And it got, he had his demons. We all have our demons in rock and roll.
So what?
And it got to the point to where he, it was the time that he was like that. He'd stayed up and play like you ain't ever seen.
Yeah.
And then
How
it
you
got
think
to the time that it could.
You want to go back to the beginning days of Jimi Hendrix? How do y'all think about it? What do you
I
think?
know. But you see, that's
Talking to the
why.
man who played with him and knew him personally.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
that's.
trying to tell you now, Jimmy didn't give a SHIT.
Yeah, and I, same
He
way.
killed himself because he didn't give a shit.
Right.
But he was put a lot of pressure because of what he was ahead of his time. So he put a lot of
But
pressure
when he
on
played,
But when he did whatever he did, that was it.
Like
Now
you said,
today,
he strapped that guitar on.
Today he would be a little, because some of these young guys today, man, they run, they like guys like him, they be gone shit, man. They be playing their ass off now. I mean, but back in his day, that was quote unquote, that was the deal. That was it.
He said he was burned out. He was like 26. He said he was burned
Well,
out.
he probably could have been. Okay, so you look at the Ozzy. I just did a thing with Ozzy Buzz them 3 months ago.
Oh, you did?
Up in Louisville.
Oh.
And you see Ernie now, he don't even play the same. He don't do none of the same.
Really?
He was so screwed up, he didn't know where he was standing. You know, but I look at him, but that's his choice. But so what? He makes
Too many red
Guess
pills.
what? But he got enough clout that he still gets paid. Yeah.
That's what it's about.
That's right.
There you go. That's how
You already made it.
That's just note here, note here, note here. He get that pocket. You know, BB in there. He's already in the pocket. He just play them little notes in the pocket.
Actually, you see, the song is done in D, but we're doing that easy. So I was just playing the song. I just thought I was getting, and this guy come in, and he had the daggone acoustic just like you across his shoulder. Old guy. I saw him sitting outside when I came in. So Maisie and Burned Out down there, they knew him, and I didn't know who he was because I had just got there. And so he come in, he said, man, you're using the wrong voice. Mr. Brown, you come in, he gonna have to fit. I said, so I looked at him and said, what do you mean wrong voice? I didn't even know what the hell voice it was, first of all. And he said, the wrong one. He said, I said, oh, you think you can do better? Then maybe you should be doing this. I'm thinking I'm just shit. Right? He said, well, okay. So I handed him, I don't need your guitar. He said he had it. He took it out, put out the bed. He was a peg leg. I didn't know put his leg across like that. And when he got down, I had tears in my eyes.
You're like, damn.
You never gonna do that shit no more. Yeah, he would take that sucker, he would slide that sucker down just quick, and he learned how to modulate, and I taught him how to modulate,
Right.
But he couldn't change the chords. But what happened, K-Pos, people like Albuquerque, you check the solo that they get out of it.
Right,
They
it gives you a little bit different
get
sound.
exactly horn sound.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, no matter how you set your guitar, you won't get that. Even if you down tune it, no matter how you do it. So I try to get the guys out of down tuning because you start to corrupt yourself. So your music tone is there. So
Right.
there's always